So one of the most anticipated FPS games the last few years has finally dropped, and today I'm going to be running through some of the best settings I find for the highest FPS, smoothest gameplay, and obviously the best tracking you can get on MNK. So jumping straight in, going to the settings. The gameplay tabs what you get first. I'd keep use enemy team colours on, just a little bit easier to differentiate people's comms, which team they're talking about. I turn high play names off. If you're a streamer, you might want to keep it on, but I don't run that. I don't like to keep my preferred region on automatic. I just drop it to whichever region I'm playing in. For me, that's Europe, but obviously you want to set it to whichever you're using. I keep crossplay on. I play with people on console. If you don't or don't want to, obviously feel free to turn it off. Crosshair settings. These are the first big changes you're going to want to make. Keep your width down at 1. I don't play with any outline width. And I'd recommend keeping it on 0 red, 0 blue, and 255 green. Gives you this lovely green crosshair. There hasn't been a time where I've found that on any of the maps I'm struggling to see my crosshair. It's nice and visible, it's nice and clean. It's 100% what I'd recommend you use. I don't run any outline at all. I keep the center dot on, and I keep it on about 3. It's just about the right size to sit right in the center. Nice and clean, nice and visible. Opacity, default to 85, I think. I've turned mine up to 100. Again, I just like it to keep it a little bit more visible. I don't really play controller. I have got some controller settings, but what I'll do is I will drop some really nice controller setup guides in the description for you guys to have a look at. Then moving over to mouse and keyboard, I run an 800 DPI across all games. I like to try and aim at around about a 30cm 360. I'm not 100% sure what the conversion is for this, but a 28 feels good for me. If you want to run a 1-to-1 between your ADS and your hipfire, keep your mouse zoom sensitivity multiplier up at 100%. It just means there won't be a difference between your hipfire and your ADS. If you're into your sniping, I'd recommend that you keep mouse focal length sensitivity scaling on. It means you won't be able to fine tune your ADS for any of your guns. It'll just be slower across the board. But if you're sniping and you're using this zoom sense multiplier, the ADS on the sniper, obviously with a higher zoom, feels mad. It's almost unusable. I don't snipe, so I don't use it. I keep the sensitivity scaling off. I run at 85. Makes tracking nice and smooth. I can hit some nice flicks if I need to. Not super slow, but it's slow enough to be nice to control while still keeping some speed to it. I keep invert off because I'm not strange. I haven't really changed any of the key bindings. I've got a secondary key bind for my jump. It's just scroll wheel down. It's ideal for bunny hopping, for things like Apex. If you play anything like that, you'll be quite used to this. It's a little bit inconsistent on the finals, so you might want to get used to playing with spacebar until they drop a fix. But obviously it's good to keep that secondary key bind now. I have changed my specialization from which I believe was Q to my front mouse, extra mouse button. I've done this because I don't like, especially if I'm playing the light class, so I'm trying to drop a dodge. I don't want to be holding my I've changed my specialization from Q to my front mouse button. I've done this simply because I play a lot of light. If I'm playing the dodge or even like the grapple, I don't want to be coming off of my left strafe all the time to be tapping the Q. I can keep any directional movement going with my left hand and I don't have to stop aiming or shooting. It's just a nice little thumb action without really affecting anything, just to keep that spec going. And my quick melee, I put that on the back mouse button as well. It's accessible, but it's not in the way. I'm not going to fat finger it. Nice and easy. Everything else is on default. In accessibility, I don't play with any colorblind mode. The colorblind settings on this are nice. If you need them, obviously they're there. And if you're someone that likes to play with them, obviously there are some really nice ones, but I play on default. I don't play on any subtitles just because I don't want any visual clutter. Motion blur is off. It should always be off for every game you play. There's absolutely no reason to keep it on. And your crosshair settings and accessibility are going to be the same as the gameplay, so we can skip past that. The finals audio can be a little bit strange. I've turned my master volume down quite low just so I can balance the individual audio separately. So I keep it on 30. I've turned my music all the way down because it's loud. It's really, really annoying. Sound effects, I've got about 75. I'm bouncing between that and 85 at the minute, but I'm thinking that 75 is quite a nice spot for it to start at. Give it a go. If you find you need more or less, obviously adjust accordingly. Dialogue, this is personal preference, but I've got mine down at 50. The output mode, that should be obviously set to whatever output you're using. I'm using headphones. I always use headphones, so I've got mine on. If you use speakers, obviously just change it to that. You can change it with your system default. Night mode. Now, this is a setting that if you play Rainbow Six, you'll be quite used to. It drops down the sound of the volume of the guns, boosts footsteps. In Rainbow Six, it's really useful. I use it all the time. In this, it absolutely kills my audio for no reason at all. I've got no directional audio. Everything is levels wise all wrong, so just keep it off for now. Maybe we'll see a fix coming, but obviously we can't guarantee that. Subtitles, as mentioned earlier, I keep it off. And my voice chat, I have mine off at the minute, but obviously it's all personal preference in there. So now in the video settings, window mode, I keep that on full screen. Every game you play, it's going to give you the best FPS if you just run it on full screen. The only time I'd recommend changing it is if you are a streamer or anything of the sort, and you want to be able to tab in and out without any fuss, window full screen. You are going to take a slight FPS hit for this, but it will make it much easier. Personally, best FPS, full screen. Resolution, I run at native. You can play stretched. Stretched will give you better FPS, but it does make the game look different. Some people just don't like it. I personally don't. I play on native. VSync, keep that disabled. Reflex low latency, normally you'd put that on plus boost. I am losing over 100 frames if I put it onto boost. I don't know why. Keep it on. I'm jumping up from sort of 200 to 300 just by keeping it on. Resolution scaling method, you want to run TAAU. Resolution scale all the way up. It by far gives me the best performance. I've tried all the others. There is a difference. TAAU 100. Field of view, you want on 100. Just the best visibility. You want that on all FPS games, just the best you can see. Motion blur and lens distortion, I keep them on both disabled, just as little visual clutter as possible. Then the NVIDIA RTX global illumination, I keep it on static, best performance. There is an argument to be made, you get slightly better visibility on dynamic low, but if you're looking for pure FPS, keep it on static. On quality, normally I'd recommend you drop everything to as low as possible. I'm running a slightly worse CPU than I am GPU, so I'm finding that my CPU is bottlenecking if I drop everything down to low. So all I've done is I've bumped view distance and texture up to medium, makes the game run much smoother. I'm seeing about a 20% frame loss if I drop everything down to low. So view distance and texture both on medium gives me the best visual clarity that I can get while retaining really high FPS. And then there's nothing to change in extra really. That is about it personally for what I'm finding are giving me the best FPS. The best visual for the finals. If you found this helped you, drop a like, drop a sub, come by it again. Tell me in the comments if there's anything you find that works better for you. Beyond that, I hope you're killing it in the finals, and I will catch you guys soon.